morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you again all for being here. I'm Mayor Cal Sheehy, and welcome to Coffee with the Mayor and City Manager.
Good morning.
We are hosted here today by Mohave Community College, and we're very proud to have Mohave Community College here in our community. We have Campus Dean Jan Woods is here. She's going to say a couple of words. For those of you that are new to Coffee with the Mayor, Jess and I awkwardly stand next to people that don't have a microphone on so that it can be picked up. So we aren't always that awkward, but today we will be. So Dean Woods.
Welcome, everybody. It is always nice for us to have guests here. Just a couple of things. Please help yourself to the refreshments. And the restrooms are out the doors behind you across the patio. Again, we are always happy to have you here, to have guests on our campus. After the talk, Cal Sheehy will read some little known facts about the Lake Havasu City campus at MCC. And they are so exciting, you just might want to take a tour. So, we have a tour guide right there. Please stand up, Sean. If you want to take a tour of the campus today, we're more than happy to do that. So, at this time, I would like to introduce a very special person we have here with us. He is our new president, and many of you have seen in the newspapers and Facebook and whatever, we are hiring a new president. Our president comes from Miles City, Montana, and for me, looking from the outside in, he's had a whirlwind of a month. He was 1 month old yesterday. And he's been traveling across the county to meet people just like you. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mohave County Community College District President, Dr. Stacy Havasu.
I want to stand right here, very, very close.
I warned him earlier.
Yeah, we were joking about that. I probably should do that. Well, welcome everybody to Mohave Community College in the Lake Havasu campus. As Jan said, and thank you very much, Jan, and your team for putting this on. I really do appreciate that. Yes, yeah, no, give a round of applause for that. We also have many MCC employees in the room. I don't know if they're here to hear Cal Sheehy or to hear me. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm supposed to say words of wisdom for them all yet, but they're here, and I want them to stand too, because these are the people that make everything work here at Mohave Community College. Well, it's a pleasure to have accepted this position and to be here in Mohave County and to serve all of the communities that Mohave Community College serves. Lake Havasu really does have a special place in my heart. When I was young, growing up in Southern California, I used to go over to Parker a lot with my father and mother and come up to Lake Havasu. So even though I grew up in Montana eventually, and went to school in Montana and ended up working in Montana, my wife and I spent time at Northern Arizona University. So I'm familiar with this area, but to be able to come back on the way home. When I called my dad and told him that I accepted the position down here, he was really excited to know that there's a Klippenstein back in this region of Arizona. So it is a pleasure to be back. There's a lot of great things going on at Mohave Community College, and that's what attracted me to this school. I served as the president at Miles Community College in Miles City, Montana. And during that time, I absolutely fell in love with the two-year system and what it does to change the lives of individuals and many different types of individuals as well. When you take a look at the people we serve at Mohave Community College or any community college across the nation, we're talking about serving adult learners, incumbent workers, dual enrollment, students in high schools, to a student that just graduates from high school trying to figure out what they're going to do, to somebody looking for a one-year certificate or a two-year degree or to transfer on to a four-year degree. Whatever it is, it's all about that life-changing event for those. So I love our motto, which is improving lives and improving communities. So for me, it's always about what we're doing for our students and what we're doing for our communities. So having our deans at each campus engaged in the communities, I'm trying to be engaged in the communities, getting to know all the mayors, the city representatives, also our local state representatives, but also many other people from economic development, because I believe the Mohave Community College is a great economic value, and also a human capital value to Mohave County. So it's a great pleasure to be here, and I really do love these coffee things, and I hope I can eat more of them because I love coffee. So anyways, I'll turn this back over to Mayor Sheehy, and thank you all very much for being here.
Excellent. Thank you. Excellent. So thank you again for being here. Thank you to our host. We really appreciate it. We know how much work goes into hosting us, so thank you. So the format today is very informal. Jess and I will go over items of hot topics or that have been in the news at the start of it, and then we will open it up to all of you for any questions that you have regarding Lake Havasu City. So I always like to kick it off with road construction because that's everyone's favorite thing. And I'm happy to say that Lake Havasu Avenue is open, and we almost forgot that there was even road construction, right? Yeah. Okay, it's good. Next time. By next time, you guys will forget. But we do have Lake Havasu Avenue is obviously open. A couple of the new features of that area. Again, just as a reminder of what we were doing in that area, is it was a safety project to ensure that our citizens can traverse safely along that section of the roadway. There had been over 85 accidents in that particular area, and it was definitely needed to be able to make that area safer for everyone to be able to get through. But some of the new features that we're hearing really positive feedback about are the flashing yellow lights to be able to make the left-hand turn. So, yes. So popular that we initially only had them on certain sections, and now, is it this week it's going to be all four ways?
Just the last couple of days, now the flashing yellows are also on Swanson Mesquite, east and westbound. So, yeah.
So, and we're looking at adding that technology as we do traffic light upgrades throughout the community. It made sense in this case because it was all new traffic light technology. It doesn't necessarily make sense all the time to just go and do that because of the cost. But as we're making road improvements to certain areas, we will incorporate that into it where it obviously makes it financially feasible for all of us as taxpayers. So some other road improvements that are happening right now is Swanson Avenue. It's closed, as you know, for a couple of weeks as they finish putting down the asphalt and the road improvements in that area. This is a project that's is an ADOT project, so believe it or not, ADOT's actually coming into our community with some grant dollars to do this area on Swanson. It's 7/10 of a mile. Some of the features of this is the roadway is going to shrink. It's not going to be as wide, which slows down traffic. So that's just a natural traffic calming measure. And in its place is going to be a bike lane and a multi-use path. So the multi-use path, a lot of people ask, why is it going there and what are we doing? And it's a path to maybe nowhere, which might be true right now, but we're planning for the future. And as new roadways open along, they will have these multi-use paths in certain sectors of our community, so we can connect through a trail-like system. So the particular area here, what makes sense is we have our ASU campus right there on Swanson. As that campus grows and students are finding housing in that general neighborhood, they will be able to walk in and get into that area. It also does connect to a little known trail, which is the Pima Wash Trail. So it connects right into there, and that Pima Wash Trail takes you right down to Rotary Park. For those of you not familiar with that trail, starts at Rotary and it goes all the way up to Acoma through Pima Wash. And so it can connect to our downtown region, can connect to the ASU region, and also connect to up into the neighborhoods. So again, as roadway improvements are identified and able to happen, we'll continue to incorporate these in the downtown sectors that make sense for connectivity for people to be able to get through our community. The great thing is that these are done with grant dollars right now. And so we didn't have Swanson Avenue's asphalt was in need of repair and replacement. We didn't have money allocated in the budget, but through this grant, we're able to do that. But some of the identifiers in the grant require us to do a bike path and a multi-use path and some of these things. So it makes sense with our overall vision and goals, but it also was required by the grant to get the money so we can get the asphalt replaced without using local taxpayer dollars. So another roadway area is for folks that are up by the golf course or Saratoga. You may have noticed a traffic control change there. We added a three-way stop sign So the intent there was, for those of you that use that area, you know how many cars are on Tacoma every single day in that area. That area is high traffic with golf cart usage that are getting between the east and the west course. And it also is welcoming to our senior citizens that use the senior center every day for meals and recreation and socialization. But those are not necessarily folks that are always used to being in that neighborhood. And so they're looking for ways, and so it slows down traffic as they try to navigate their way in to the senior center. So this traffic control change has been very welcomed. I've heard from one resident that didn't like it, but I've heard from hundreds that did like it. So in the world of local government, that's a win. And it's again a safety project or a safety initiative for the folks in that neighborhood. And I'm told that people are able to, during the morning commute, are able to get through that in a much safer way, especially the folks that are trying to turn right off of Saratoga seem to be very, very happy with that change. So those are our roadway improvements. Did I miss any of the roadway stuff?
No, that's everything that's going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have our crack sealing program starts in November, so we'll be out in the streets and sealing some of our cracks. That's a way that we go out and preserve the pavement that we have, so that we're not doing major repairs. We want to make sure we're taking care of our infrastructure. But yeah, that's the major road work that's happening right now.
Excellent. Another topic that is happening actually right now as we speak is the deconsolidation of our courts. It's been in the newspaper. We've talked about it several times, but now the time has actually come that it's happening. What does that mean for all of us is you won't really notice much different right now. But years ago, 25 plus years ago, we consolidated our court system, which is our Superior Court, which is county functions, the Justice Court, which again are county functions, and our Municipal Court, which is the city function. So we consolidated those as a measure to save the taxpayers money. And we basically share office space and office staff and case management, those types of things. Which really makes a lot of sense when communities are small. And it really is a great way to be good stewards of taxpayer money in small communities. So 25 plus years ago when that happened, it was a great move and really served our citizens well. However, if you've had to go out to the court system or the courthouse, and not everyone that goes there is in trouble with the law, just so you know, the courts do serve other purposes than just that. But if you've ever been out there, you know it's bursting at the seams with people and caseloads. So as the population has increased, obviously caseloads have increased. So courtroom space is really at a premium. Space in that general lobby, if you're ever in that lobby waiting area, there's oftentimes not even a seat to be had. And so the reason for deconsolidation is because we're really running out of space. And how do we do that? But we thought it would be a better solution to deconsolidate basically in place. So we now, as Lake Havasu City Municipal Court, rent space from the county. And by renting space, we can deconsolidate all of the 25 plus years of things we've been doing combined in a very orderly fashion for the citizens of Lake Havasu City. So we don't just basically, cut the string and then we're like, oh, we forgot that so-and-so did this or this group did that for all those years. So it allows us to do it in a real seamless fashion. Now what we're looking to do is we need to find new courtroom space. And so we're looking at a variety of options. There's nothing off of the table. The City Council adopted a budget with CIP funds in the next 5 years for courthouse improvements. One area that is targeted right now from years ago, that was planned many, many years ago, was to add additional space up at the City Hall complex. So that there's the police station where the jail's at, where folks that need to go to court are physically at. There's, of course, the City Hall complex, and then there's some additional space that the municipal court could go and be built in that area. Some of the benefits of that are shared resources and space with the city, so conference rooms, offices. The prosecutors are already based at City Hall and in the city attorney's office. So there's some cost savings there that city staff is taking a look at. And the other thing is maybe working with the county to expand the College Avenue courthouse and doing some sort of relationship that way. So we're looking at all options and want to make sure that it's going to be in the best interest of the citizens, both from a cost measure and also from a services measure. So the deconsolidation right now, you're not going to notice too much, but you might start reading and hearing about some planning efforts or looking at what the best solution is or the best location is for that additional courthouse. If you're friends with any folks that work in the courts, then you might hear from them as well about that. We do expect a few hiccups. Obviously, when you've been in a real solid relationship for 25 plus years and you start to end that relationship, things are going to come out that we don't necessarily know about, but we're prepared to work through those together with all three entities, being the Superior Court, the Justice Court, and the Municipal Court. And the effort that we're doing is to do this in place so that it doesn't impact, hopefully, the users of that system. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, that summarizes it. I guess the definition of what we're doing in the past, the last relationship with the county, and as both entities grow and the caseload grows, it causes us to do something a little bit different. But what happened in the past was it was a consolidated court, which meant that the city provided the services for all the county and municipal court cases. So then the county would pay the city a sum every year to pay for their share of the cost. So now what we're doing is we're separating the two functions. The city is now responsible for the city functions, municipal court functions, and the county is now responsible for the county court functions. They have their staff. The city has our staff, and like we said, we'll be partnering in the same building. And the goal is that there might be some awkwardness in the background, but forward facing will provide that same level of service that we have in the past. And there will be some hiccups, but we've thought about a lot of things and avoided a lot of those hiccups, and we'll work through them and do the best we can.
The other item that's been in the newspaper over the last couple of weeks has been Horizon 6, which Horizon 6 is located in the county, but just adjacent to Lake Havasu City, almost to the point that you don't know that it's not Lake Havasu City until you drive into the neighborhood and can recognize that it's county zoning and county space. So it's located over on the very south end of town, off of Lake Drive, I think is the way to get in there. There's a couple other ways to get in there as well. But for a really long time, Lake Havasu City had an agreement with the county that we provided fire and emergency services to that area. That agreement naturally expired by the terms of the agreement. So we're working with Horizon 6 or we're actually working with the county and then the residents of Horizon 6 on emergency services. And I'll let Jess kind of take over and talk about the negotiations and kind of what that process looks like.
Sure, thank you, Cal. We had the city had an agreement with the county over the last several years that was set to expire just a couple weeks ago. Was end of July. So city and county representatives have been in discussions, and that IGA, what that set up was two things. One was fire protection services, and the second thing was the maintenance of the water system out in Horizon 6, otherwise affectionately known as Donkey Acres. So what we have there is a partnership, and we love partnerships as the city, but we need to both put equal amount of resources on the table and benefit equally from the situation. So the district out there is run, it's the same. The board that runs the district is the Board of Supervisors, and they're responsible for the water delivery in that area. They also have the infrastructure for the water system out in that area, and they partnered with the city, and this continues. We're happy to help out. If a break or something like that happens out in that area and they can't get their crews down to the area, our city staff will go out there, make the repairs, and then we just ask for the district or the county to compensate the city at cost. So we're not trying to make any money. Again, we're just trying to be good partners. And historically, what's also been a part of that relationship with the county and part of that IGA or that agreement is the fire service. So for the last several years, the folks out in that area have been contributing towards there's two things here. One is the cost of service, and secondly is the condition of the infrastructure. Regarding the cost, the folks in that area have been paying $5 per month for fire services. If you break it down as far as the taxes that are collected and the amount of money that goes into providing fire and EMT services from the city's perspective, it's a $16 million budget. You break that down, we're paying about $500 per person per year for our fire service. So if we want to provide that service out into the county that aren't our residents, well then we need to be compensated at a level or they need to contribute at the level that our residents are contributing towards fire protection services. So that's one thing that we're discussing with them. $60 a year does not compare to the cost that our residents are paying for that service in Havasu itself. Second, I believe that water system out there is old and very, very old, and it's in poor condition, to the point where the last several years we've been trying to communicate to the county that the improvements are needed. Our firefighters go in that area, they're scared to turn on the hydrant. When they do turn on the hydrant, nothing comes out, and if they leave that open for too long, what's happening is that those lines will eventually collapse. That disrupts the whole water system, so we don't want to touch that water system. It has been maintained at proper levels. In contrast, city's perspective, whether it's roads or water, sewer infrastructure, we plan ahead 5-10 years in advance to make sure that we have the dollars coming in to pay for things as they come, and we want to make cheap repairs as we go and maintain things as opposed to big, expensive repairs. There's no dollars in those funds to make the repairs that are needed to that system, so we're asking them to contribute towards our fire costs and EMT costs, as well as providing the infrastructure needed for our fire professionals to go out there and provide service that we do here in the municipal boundaries. So,
excellent. All right, next item that we wanted to mention that's kind of a hot topic in all of the United States, Arizona, and then now specifically like Havasu, is vacation rentals. And so vacation rentals, otherwise known as short-term rentals, are a happening thing around the country. And so the state this year, with the help of Senator Borelli and the delegation down at the state, have been able to pass legislation, the governor signed it, that allows cities and towns to be able to regulate vacation rentals or short-term rentals at a certain level. It's not everything we need, but it's a great start, and we're so appreciative of what it is and what it's looking like. So I'll talk to you a little bit about short-term rentals on both sides, because it's short-term rentals they do serve a purpose within our community. They serve a purpose within the travel industry. They serve a purpose to invite folks into the United States, but there's also real impacts to neighborhoods that need to be addressed and be able to be monitored. So the state law that was passed now allows us to do some sort of regulation with a registration system, ensuring that they're paying the same taxes, paying taxes into the state, county, and also to local governments. And it allows us to be able to manage them in a way that allows people in neighborhoods, people that live there full time, to be able to have peaceful enjoyment of their property as well. And that's where the balance comes into place. So, if you and I are on vacation, staying in a home here in Lake Havasu City, it's 12 midnight, and we're outside on the pool having a conversation just on normal levels, it carries out here in the desert. So they're not doing anything bad, but you and I, we got to go to bed because we got to go to work in the morning, or we have appointments in the morning, and we can't sleep because of just normal activity. But folks that are on vacation stay up just a little bit later than we do when we're going to work the next day. And so that can be a hazard or a nuisance to you in your neighborhood. Another thing we hear often from citizens of Lake Havasu City is that they don't know who's in the neighborhood. So, back in the day, you knew who your neighbors were, and you knew who was coming and going and all of that. Now you could have 4 or 5 different groups of folks staying in, being your next door neighbor in a week. So in a month, you could have 20 different neighbors right next door to you, and that is unsettling for some of our citizens. Some of the other challenges we have is if folks are using the home on a weekend, for example, they're told to leave their trash out at the street, but their garbage day is not till next Friday. So it leaves great food for our neighbors, the coyotes, which then leaves trash throughout our neighborhoods. So these are all areas that we can start addressing. Another area that people don't always think about is Lake Havasu City has a real, and it's not just Lake Havasu City, but it is impacting us. We have a real problem with long-term rentals or places for residents to live. So workforce housing or people that are looking to rent a home are struggling to find a home because so many folks that once offered their homes as long-term rentals have converted them to short-term rentals. So you may have read in the newspaper that the Lake Havasu Unified School District brought in 40 new teachers this year. They're struggling to find homes, places to live. And so I was at the opening school rally for the school district on Wednesday, and one of the principals told me that there's a teacher that's considering living in Kingman and commuting back to Lake Havasu City because there's nowhere they can't find a home in which they can afford. So these are real issues, and these are things that we need to address. And fortunately, through the leadership of the state legislature, they're giving us that ability. So Jess and his team are working on drafting an ordinance in which we can manage it. And again, there's a place for it, but it just needs to be properly managed within our community. And prior to this, we did have one, and it worked really well. But there's another state law that allows any legislator, it doesn't matter what district they're in, make a complaint to the Attorney General's office about any local ordinance or law. And if the Attorney General's office finds it to be in violation, it basically is null and void. And our ordinance that we had was similar to Sedona's. A legislator that's not even in Sedona's district or Lake Havasu's district made a complaint to the AG's office on Sedona's ordinance. They found that it not to be constitutional, and basically it was null and void. And so we did have a mechanism, and it was a really, really good mechanism, but it was taken away from us. So again, through the leadership of Senator Borelli and our delegation, Representative Biasucci and Representative Cobb, they were able to get this version of the bill to the governor's desk to sign it. And we're, again, so grateful that we can do that, because these are real issues that citizens are bringing to us. Now for the folks that love vacation rentals and say, that's what I do for a living, and I can't believe you want to regulate me. For you folks, we again, there is a need and a place in the market for it. It augments a tourism or a travel destination. But we do basic zoning. So zoning 101, it starts with commercial nodes. So grocery stores, anything of commercial activities kind of here. We then go into like multifamily housing, apartment houses, high density housing, into like brownstones, duplexes, those types of things, into single family residential homes, and then to like residential estates is kind of the outline of regular zoning. So people would leave those areas and move into the commercial nodes to be able to go to restaurants and attractions and grocery stores and doctors and all of those types of things. And now that's not how it's being set up anymore. So if you today are a CPA, or you are someone that does payroll for somebody, or you do bookkeeping, or I'm trying to think of things that you wouldn't really have any traffic come to your home, but you are in business at your home, you cannot do that. That's against the law, but yet we can have hotels in neighborhoods. So it's a careful balance for that. So we think we can come up with language that's going to address and identify the neighborhood issues and still allow people that own vacation rentals the opportunity to do so. The intent of vacation rentals always was if you have a casita in your backyard that's not being used. You, the homeowner, live in your home, and you might rent your casita. So now you have that. It's like a relationship that you're controlling what's happening there. But now it's been commercialized, and we have companies that Wall Street's buying these homes and not recognizing what it is. So I hope that you understand kind of where that balance lies of having it meant for what its original intention was, and not to turn zoning upside down and impact neighborhoods. So, do you have anything to add? Yes, sir.
I just walked in the door, and you happened to be hitting on what I'm here for.
Okay.
I live in the north end of town, off of North Palo Verde and Aviation, which is a fairly affluent area, single-family home, custom homes, and that. We have just acquired a Motel 6 next door to me. It's a couple from Colorado bought this house and have turned it into a daily weekend rental. The issue that I have now is a safety factor. My wife doesn't feel safe in our home. Simply because 2 people rent this place and 40 people show up. They got boats stacked up everywhere when they leave. The garbage cans are running over. They sit there for 2 to 3 days before they're picked up. But the biggest issue is that I don't know anybody that's coming in there. If this was a long-term rental, that's fine. You can make acquaintances with the people who live there if they become part of the neighborhood. This is not the case where I'm at. Every weekend, there are different groups and bunches of people who come into that house. So far, we have not had an issue. Last night was the first one. And I came within an inch of calling the police, but I didn't. But I am fed up with it. My wife doesn't feel safe in our home. I live in an area where I've never had to lock a door. That isn't the case anymore. And I don't know what, I missed out on part of what
No, I'm like, I didn't even plant him in here. He hit every topic I said. Yeah. I didn't even plant him in here.
I don't know what you had to say, but something has got to be done with this. There are areas that are rental areas in this town, and that's all well and good. But residential areas where I live and the places down there, this is not a Motel 6 area. If they want to buy the house and rent it for a year lease, that's a whole other issue. And I got no problem with that. But what the problem I've got now is that my wife doesn't feel safe in a home that I built 22 years ago.
Yeah, so you actually hit on every point that I shared with the group this morning, and so he's a real citizen, and multiply that times hundreds that are talking to us about this situation. Afterwards, you and I will talk, and I'll tell you what we're doing. But so we're hopeful to have some draft language by the fourth quarter sometime this fall, early winter, that we can start having the conversation with. The reason why is the state law that's allowing us this opportunity is fairly complex, and we have to make sure that it's not going to be challenged again, and all the good work we've done be unraveled like it was previously. So we are addressing it, and I wanted to bring it up and let you know what it is that we're doing for it.
Can I?
Yes.
So I think kind of traditionally we had some folks that come to us and like yourself, sir, that talk about some of the issues with vacation rentals. And what is the city doing about this? You're not enforcing your ordinance. You're not. You don't have the available resources or the amount of staff that's needed to address this issue. Well, we were handcuffed up until Senator Borelli and our delegation and others at the Capitol in Phoenix just passed legislation just this last session to allow us to put a few things into our local ordinances that allows us to address this issue. So, Mayor Shea, you talked about our existing ordinance, which was deemed unlawful by the Attorney General's office in relation to what happened in Sedona. We were just requiring that if you're a vacation rental owner, that we want the contact information for you so your neighbor could give you a call and say, hey, your tenants are too noisy. We couldn't even do that. So the only thing that we could do up until this point is look at noise. So there's noise occurring at the property next door. Police comes out and they take a look at the situation. They say, yeah, you're way too noisy over there. So the best that we could do as a city is then go talk to the tenants, not the property owner, but the tenants, and say, you guys are too noisy. Maybe here's a citation or a fine. You're gonna have to, now quiet down. Well, what's gonna happen next weekend? A whole new set of people come in, and we do that over and over and over again, and we're not getting to the root of the problem. So we have some legislation now that at least allows us to have conversations and a little bit of teeth with some of the property owners for these that are renting out to their homes, where you got, some of these are venues for special events and weddings and major parties and those types of things, where you have 5 people to a bedroom and those types of things. So again, there's a place for vacation rentals, but we need to find that happy medium so that the owner of the property can enjoy what he's trying to do, and the neighbors can rest a little easier than they are right now.
All right, the next thing, Vice Mayor David Lane couldn't be with us today, but for those of you that attend regularly know he's always here. He happens to be traveling on a much deserved trip, but if he were here, he'd want to tell you about the census. So I'll tell you about the census. The census is coming, and we want you all to be counted. It's really, really important that you stand up and be counted, and please, I call all of you are active and engaged, so knock on your neighbors' doors and get them engaged as well to be counted. What the census is sometimes what we hear in the news is it's very political, but it's not political. We just need you to be counted. All the data that you put on your form is sealed for 70 years. We'll all be gone long before they'll know how many bathrooms are in my house today. So, so just go ahead and fill that form out. The reason that we're so interested in doing it is the census data is what's used for all of the shared revenues that the government distributes back to cities, towns, states, counties, all of those types of things. It's all based on census data. So we already pay it through income tax, we pay it through gas tax, we pay it through income tax, if I didn't already say that, but all of the taxes we already pay are redistributed. So these are paid to like the IRS or the state government. Those that get redistributed back into communities for roads and police and parks and all of those things based on the census data. So they say, according to the 2020 census, Lake Havasu City has X number of citizens times this number. Here's your check to take care of the roads, and it's not a gift of a check. It's just our money back that we already paid. So, but they give it back to us, and then we can do it. So if we don't get counted, our money, all of our collective money, is going somewhere else and getting distributed to other communities. Really, really important for Lake Havasu City is we have a lot of folks that consider us their second home destination, even though they're here 9 or 10 months a year and they just spend the summer, July and August in Minnesota or Wisconsin or wherever it may be, or their grandkids and children live somewhere else, so they call that home, even though they spend more time here. The monies that are redistributed are to take care of our needs, like our roads and our police and our fire and our parks, all the things that we enjoy as citizens of Lake Havasu City. So please, if it's political to you, just put that aside and fill out the form and mail it in. If it's anything else, and it's actually going to be online this year. This is also the first time they're really making a push for online counting, which is a bit scary to some folks. But we have a committee, and if any of you are interested in participating in the committee, please see Jess or myself afterwards. But we have a committee that's engaging right now on strategies to get in front of folks, certainly folks that might not be as technologically savvy or might be scared of doing it online, because there is still a form that we can get filled out. But we really want to make it as seamless as possible. We want to make sure Lake Havasu City has a really good showing in the census. So talk about it to everybody. Timeline is March. Is the first postcard comes out in March?
March timeframe. The actual official census day is, believe it or not, April Fool's Day. So that's an easy way to remember that, how that's coming.
So yeah, just keep talking about it, and we'll keep talking about it every time we see each other, just because it's so important to what it is that we're doing here. So our next council meeting, which was scheduled for the 13th, right? The 13th, is been canceled. It's canceled because we didn't have very many agenda items that we had to have. So, but the good news is that same day at 6 o'clock at the community center, at the Aquatic Center Community Center, Havasu Community Health Foundation and #YouMatter are having a nationally known speaker come in and talk about mental health and how we can ensure safety for our citizens. It's going to be a really great event, and I encourage you all to participate and show up to the Aquatic Center. It's free, and it's actually student-led. Our HIAC, our Havasu Youth Advisory Committee, our council, which is basically the student council of the council, is a real active participant in it, and I would love to show those the Havasu Youth Advisory Council that we know their work matters and we're here to support them. So I would encourage you to participate in that on the 13th. We have a real special treat next week. We have Senator McSally is going to be in Mohave County. She's going to be in Bullhead City. It's going to be on Wednesday, and it's at 2:15 at the Bullhead City Chamber of Commerce. You are all invited to come hear from the senator. She'll give you an update on all of the things that are going on at the federal level, answer any questions you may have specific to our community or to federal policy. So again, you're all invited to participate and be a part of that. I'd like to make a few introductions. We have Councilmember McCoy is with us this morning. Thank you for being here. We have Senator Borelli is with us, and as you know, and Senator, if you want to make your way up to say a few words, we always like to get a state update. They're on a session, but he still can give us a quick update on what's happening at the state.
He's normally very shy, so we're lucky to have him up here.
And again, we're going to stand close to each other so that you got to go in the middle, buddy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
The coffee's great. Thank you, Mr. President, for providing the coffee, and thanks to Cal. You're doing Cal's doing a great job, don't you think? Yeah.
Thank you.
We trained him well.
Yeah.
We had the most rural-friendly budget passed, I think, ever in the state of Arizona. I think the city got another additional $500,000 in road construction money. That we finally managed to eliminate the HERF suites, and we were able to get another $18 million to split up between all the cities and towns. And I don't know exactly how much it was at Lake Havasu got this year, but hey, a little bit, anything's worth a little bit more. But,
yes.
We got some good criminal justice reform done. We hear a lot of this in the news and what's going on in criminal justice reform. That's the federal government that's going through that. Arizona is leaps and bounds way ahead of the federal government on any kind of criminal justice reform. So there's a lot of hype that's always in the media, and there's sometimes it's a little difficult to figure out state and federal what's really going on. But like I said, we managed to. When I first ran for office, I said we have to eliminate the HERF suites, the Highway User Revenue Fund sweeps, and we managed to do that. And we're finally getting obviously got some grant money to get some more road construction done here in the city. And one of the things that's been a hot topic last year and this year was the VLT $32 registration fee. Well, we tried to do a full, complete elimination. That was my goal. Senator Ugenti Rita had a bill in the Senate to repeal that. It passed out of the Senate. I voted yes to repeal, but it got dogged down in the House, and it became a negotiating item in the budget. So it became one of those little footballs be kicked around, and the governor's office, his staff wanted to wean it off over a 5-year period. We said that's unacceptable. So what we ended up coming down to is, okay, he agreed to repeal it in 2 years. Well, we said, okay, fine, because we're planning on going back this next session to full repeal it anyway, a year ahead. So anyway, but we have to find another funding solution for Department of Public Safety, because part of that HERF sweep funds being swept was going to the Department of Public Safety. And DPS, under the Governor Ducey 4 years ago, we formed, actually more than 4 years ago, was the Border Security Strike Force, which is a counter-drug operation along the border, and that works with federal agencies. It's not just there as an immigration issue, it really is a counter-drug operation, and we've been very successful in that, and trying to stem the flow of illegal drugs coming through. And it's not marijuana, we're talking meth, we're talking heroin, and we're talking fentanyl. Just to give you an example of fentanyl, a coffee cup full of fentanyl would kill everybody in the entire county. Okay? And then, what? Don't
the
drink
microphone's falling around.
But this is the kind of things that's going on that we're really doing. So I got elected as the majority whip in the Senate, and I'm also running for re-election. So I have a petition if anybody wants to sign on to it.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Question for him.
Yes.
I'd like to see you start some legislation, because I've been all the way to the governor's office with this. We have no gouging laws in the state of Arizona. And because of that, we do not get any help in trying to stop people who gouge this town. And I'm talking about gasoline. And I want to see some legislation started to put an end to this stuff. We're paying 40 cents a gallon more in this town than we are out of town, in other towns, Bullhead City. You go right down here, 30 miles from here, you can buy gas cheaper than you can in this town.
Okay, God.
And they come up with all kinds of excuses of why they do it. It's all BS.
All right.
Because those places are out of the way for deliveries and whatever. And if they can sell the gas at that price, why are we getting screwed every weekend, every holiday, everything in on a gas? Right now today, And I had a person from Phoenix travel with me all around this place looking at gas stations and made note of it. She said, there's nothing we can do at the state level. There are no gouging laws in Arizona. I want to see some laws put in place.
All right, so the question now, real quick, just for the folks at home, it has to do with the anti-gouging laws and gas prices, and how come gas prices are more expensive in Havasu than other comparable communities. Senator Borelli.
Yeah, I feel that pinch really quick because I'm always on the road. I'm back and forth to Phoenix 2-3 times a month when we're out of session. Our district goes all the way up to almost all the way up to the Utah border and almost down to Yuma. So I'm constantly on the road, and so I'm constantly feeling that pinch every time I come home. What I need all of you guys to do is help me out with contact the Attorney General's office or Consumer Protection and file complaints, because that's really how we're going to really get the Attorney General's attention on this. You can go online, you can file a complaint. Those complaints really help me get weight and get some leverage, because it's atrocious. You're right, it's 40 cents cheaper in Phoenix than it is here. It's 30 cents.
30 cents cheaper in Parker.
It's 40 cents cheaper in Bullhead. So I agree with you 100%. I need your help on this. So, a squeaky wheel gets the grease, many hands make light work, and I could really use your help on this, folks. Just contact the Attorney General's office. Also, here's just another public service announcement kind of thing. How many people have been getting phone calls from the IRS and people in Social Security and all that kind of stuff? Guess what? They don't do that. They don't do that. So here's another public service announcement. Okay, when they call you, tell them that they're calling you on your work phone, and they need to call you back on another phone. So give them this phone number, 602-542-8888, which is the Attorney General's office. So,
all right, again, one more time for the number. I see people writing
602-542-8888.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Senator. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work for us. Yeah, I had someone call twice from my Social Security number was jacked. I'm like, the second person, I'm like, it already was stolen earlier this morning. Did you get two away? Yeah, you should have got me a little earlier. But we have another guest. We have one more guest to speak for a couple of minutes, and then we'll open up to all of your questions that you have. We'll answer all of those. But we have Anne-Marie Ward. Anne-Marie Ward is from Senator McSally's office, and she's here today on behalf of the senator. I warned her too. Yeah.
This is quite the gig. So I want to thank you all for having us here. I noticed a couple of frowning faces when we said the event with the senator will be in Bullhead City. I did try very, very hard to get her half the day in Bullhead and half the day in Havasu, and between the flights and chartering, we just couldn't do it. But we said we want a county-wide event. And so your mayor was kind enough to jump on board with the mayors of both Bullhead City and Kingman so that we could host a county-wide event in Bullhead so that it was central for everybody to come in. And so that invitation to that event, I hope to see you all there. I think that's one of the best opportunities for us as citizens to get right in front of our federal senator and say, here's what my concerns are and tell me what you're doing. Because that's how we hold them accountable, right? And I work for the office. But I think that's very, very important. And so they're hosting, nothing better in the desert, but an ice cream social. So if the senator didn't get you there, I hope that the ice cream does. So a little bit about myself. What I do on behalf of the United States Senate, in particular Senator McSally's office, is I handle all of the outreach in northern Arizona. I'm a native. I'm from Prescott, Arizona, and ended up back there. I met with your mayor and vice mayor over a month and a half ago to make sure that our office was aware of what was going on in Lake Havasu. They are very informed and engaged with our office to make sure that you are cared for at the federal level. And so we work very, very closely. I've had the pleasure and honor of attending a lot of the events with the chamber and some other things in your community. And wherever the dean went, I am taking a tour of Mohave Community College right after this. And so there's really not enough good things to say about Lake Havasu City, but I want you to know that our office door is always open to you and to your city. If you ever need to reach out, I have cards with me today. I'm available. And of course, you can reach out to your mayor and your city government as well. and we're here for you. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Senator McSally will be here next Wednesday. It's 2:15 in Bullhead City at the Bullhead City Chamber of Commerce. Of course, I will be there, and I hope to see many of you there as well. Senator McSally has really hit the ground running, and really in particular has a strong focus on local government. She understands that the citizens of Arizona live in cities and towns. And so she has met with Jess and I, of course her office, we've met multiple times, and she's been a really great advocate for Lake Havasu City and our region at the federal level. Fortunately, right now we don't have a lot of federal issues, but we are surrounded by a lot of federal land. And we've shared with the Senator how important it is that the relationships with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the BLM, and others, and how important they are. And she is on board with us. And of course, we have BLM here today that interfaces with us very, very well. So we have great relationships, and we always share with the Senator how appreciative we are of those. So, yes, Donna. It's on Wednesday, the 8th of August, 7th of August. Yeah, my calendar just beeps and then I go somewhere. So the 7th of August, 2:15, Bullhead City Chamber of Commerce. If you have questions about location or that kind of stuff, you can email me or call me, or call the Bullhead City Chamber of Commerce, and they'll give you all of the details. So with that, it's question time. Havasu Riviera. Okay, let's have an update on Havasu Riviera. We'll do that for Chuck, and then we'll take your question, sir. So the Havasu Riviera project is moving along. I had the opportunity to spend a couple of days with Bob Broscheid, who's the Arizona State Parks Director, in Tucson last week. And we were able to discuss where we stand on that issue. The great news is that the 3 state agencies that are involved in this have all agreed that it can move forward and the agreements can be signed. So that's the good news. So those 3 agencies are the AG's office, they are the State Procurement Office, and the state parks. Now, we do have Governor Ducey's help, because Governor Ducey has been on the front lines with us. He actually assigned an in-house counsel or an attorney on the matter to help Lake Havasu City to get this moving forward. And we've been moving since February. It's August now, but in government time, that's so fast. Yeah, that's life on the fast lane. So we're really hopeful that we're going to get this agreement signed within the next 2 weeks ago I was told it was going to be that week. So I hate to say an actual date, but any day now. So what we're doing now is waiting for a meeting for these people to get in the same room to sign the document. And I said, have you heard of DocuSign? Just send an email. We'll hit click, sign, and be done. But they haven't heard of that. So we're working on it, but Riviera is moving. And for those of you that might be new to the Riviera conversation, what that is as we head up Highway 95 over to the right on the water side. There's a stoplight between Mulberry and Acoma, and it has bags over it right now and kind of barricades to this beautiful roadway, not allowing anyone in. That is a public-private partnership. So public being Lake Havasu City, public being Arizona State Parks, and private being Comac Development, which is a private housing area that will be able to embark because of this roadway. This roadway leads to the water, where at the end of the roadway is going to be the very first new Arizona State Park in over 20 years in the entire state park system. It'll be a mainland boat launch facility and marina. It'll be phased out over several phases, but initially it'll start with a boat launch and an opportunity to be able to get on the water, eventually having a marina, eventually having a restaurant, and then having marina type facilities, concierge level boat facilities where they'll do boat storage, and you'll call and say, you know, I'm going on the boat on Friday, can you have it launched for me? It's launched, ice in the boat, those types of things. So that's what the whole project is. Everything was moving full steam ahead. The city's involvement in this whole thing was to put the roadway in, put the stoplight in, and some additional infrastructure. We did all of those things. While we were doing all of those things, the governor fired the then State Parks Director, and this is what caused all of these issues. When the former State Parks Director was fired, all of these things came under additional scrutiny. and that's what led to the AG's office getting involved. And then once I was mayor and we had Governor Ducey here, I sat down with him and we had a conversation, and he decided to get involved and have the state live up to their obligation. And so that's kind of where a little bit of history and background on it, but it's any day is the answer. And I'll let you know the day when it happened. You had a question, sir? Yes.
Yeah, mine was a little bit more personal. Mine is speeding in residential zones.
Oh.
I live on Andrew Drive on the north side, and there's a cut-through street from North Palo Verde to Iowa. And people, come from the north side, and they want to go into town, they come down that street. They're coming down my street at 45, 50, 60 miles an hour. I've talked to the police department, I've talked to Mark, speed trailer on the street. That kind of helped for a while. Then I asked him to put a 25 mile an hour sign out there in the block. And he said, well, it's about $100 or something like that. So we never had any problem there. And so it's better to be, aggressive than to wait for something to happen and then have me testify against the city because they didn't do anything. Mark is right down the street, people were walking up in my street, and motorcycles come by on my street at 60 miles an hour. Now, you fight the how long ago? Because I bought a speed gun. And I said that.
Bought a what?
He has a speed gun.
Oh.
So let's get up there. Mark the time that and the speed. So, 39 miles an hour, 32 miles an hour, 62 miles an hour. So, I called up the city, they put the wagon out there, this was so kind of only one end of the street, not the other end of the street, it was pretty expensive, really, maybe you can do something about that.
Yeah, this is an easy one. I love that one. That's great. All right, so first thing, let me summarize this for the folks at home. We're talking about speeds in neighborhoods. This gentleman lives in a neighborhood in the north end of town. It's 25 miles an hour. We have one sign on the street. We should have another sign on the street, which we can handle. We've had some speed trailers. And what can we do just to general overall speed? But before I do that, this gentleman has a speed gun. And did you know that Havasu City PD is hiring? We need people. Yeah. So apply online. Yeah.
Very clever.
Occasionally when a truck, coming down the street has a name on it, park the pest control. And they're going 45 miles an hour down my street, I call park the pest control.
And let 'em know.
Park the pest control, make fun of me. What's like, what are you, a cop? What are you,
No, I think it's perfect. Yeah.
And other people from checking their speed, they're going like this. So, number one,
Well, you offered a great solution. So he offered a solution of adding an additional speed marker sign, and we can increase patrols in that area. We'll talk afterwards to get kind of the specific neighborhood or addresses, and we can increase patrols. Certainly, we want everyone to use caution as they drive through our community. Obviously, obey the speed posted speed limits. There is a method to the madness in how the speeds were set within our community, being that boulevards are at one set, roads, streets, lanes are all set at different areas. But in all seriousness, we do take it seriously. And you and I will talk specifically about the solution that you offer. It seems like a very reasonable one that we'll be able to address for you.
Say radar enforced on both ends that way. And then the carrier they sit there and in the middle of the street, you're on that end. The cops are taking the speed limit. The cops are-
Oh, never, yes.
I told them, I said, look, I got two Suburbans. Just park right between them. And you're waiting for the police officers to unfold in that day. So you can't just send a policeman out there and set what you're seeing. You might as well send a big car out there.
Sure.
So what you need is some teeth in the enforcement. You can't just put a cop out there sitting at the corner and then the speeds are slowing down while the cop there. The people that come down my street are the same people every day because they're going from the north end to work. And it's that in the afternoon. So it's in the morning and the afternoon. I got the time for the highest speeds are. And if you don't do it right, you're wasting the police officer's time just for a car at the corner. And they can see it coming, so they don't speed. And then they say, well, there's no problem. Here's the lead.
Sure.
So they have to do it more,
Sure. No. Point well taken. We appreciate that. We'll look into it. We'll get some specifics afterwards. Yes, sir.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes.
Trash on the street. There's Sandwood and Iowa. There's a pile of trash of old furniture sitting on the street on public land for 2 months. I called the city. I called enforcement. I called code enforcement. It's still sitting there. And it's like, oh, property. I don't understand how that happens in the city.
So we're diligently taking notes over here, and we'll look into it. So, but trash sitting on public land, yeah, she's got it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll summarize it for everybody.
When I built our house, built in 1970, 78, it didn't have any curbs, but it had paved streets. Now I've got what I call gravel road. We call it chip seal. This stuff gets on your shoes, gets on the tires, gets up in the driveway. I've got hardwood floors to the house. I've had pretty good luck so far. I'd say 3 scratches on the floor. But when are they going to do something to put my street back? Where I have paved streets and not a
Not chip seal? Okay, so is that it's about chip seal? Okay, so
I'm not sure. Is it about chip seal, or is it about the fact that you mentioned curbs? So are rocks from the landscape getting on the road? Is that what you're referring to, or are you talking about the actual chip seal and the application of a new roadway? Okay. But so after we the application of the chip seal is really a headache, right? So, but what you have is you lay down the tar, lay down the chips, and then we have traffic that goes over them, and then they sweep the chips up. So you're saying there's still rocks that are left after the fact?
use it like chip seal.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll explain kind of roadway maintenance, and then we'll talk about your road, and we'll send someone else to take a look afterwards. Yeah. So the way that our roads in Lake Havasu City, but now, by the way, before I was elected, I did not like chip seal either. I did not. I hated chip seal. Now I love chip seal. The reason why is chip seal is so affordable compared to laying down asphalt. So the way that we maintain our roadways is every roadway has something done to it every 10 years. So about 10% of our roadways each year we do something to maintain it. So depending on how old the asphalt is, we might just need to do like a micro seal or a fog seal. As the roadway ages, we have to do a chip seal treatment or re-asphalt it or mill it or something that costs a lot of money. But for us to be able to use the money for roads is generally sent from HERF, as Senator Borelli mentioned, Highway User Revenue Fund, which is paid when we pump gas at the gas tank. Those taxes are redistributed again back to your cities, counties, and towns based on census data. See how it all connects here. And we then use that money to take care of our roadways. So if we were to go through, certainly we could repave roads every 10 years, but our taxes would go up large, and that's. Yeah, so the chip seal is one of the most affordable ways. Now, what we did do this year, which I'm really proud of, because again, I hated chip seal before because of the cost, is certainly in our cul-de-sac neighborhoods where you have the trash trucks and some heavy equipment that's going into there, and they have to make that hard turn to get through it. It's like tearing up the whole chip seal. We're adding a micro seal on top of it, which then keeps everything in place when those heavy vehicles go on to those areas. Cul-de-sacs are the worst. We're also doing it in some other areas where it's appropriate. So, and we're trying to catch it sooner so that we don't have to. So this budget, we have less chip seal than we've had in prior budgets, but chip seal is a good way to be cost effective and good stewards of taxpayer money and be able to hit that 10% ratio.
What we want to do with our roads is touch them every 10 years. If you don't touch them every 10 years, you're talking about large significant issues that can occur, large cracking. We're talking about chip seal that we can do for about $1.85 a square yard. Kingman's talking about where they haven't touched their roads for prior than 10 years. So you're talking about total milling reconstruction of that. That's $100 a square yard. We're paying $1.80. So it's in comparison, that's what we're looking at. We come to the coffee with the mayor. We talk to the residents. The council engages in conversations. I engage in conversation with staff about, well, is there a better way of doing things? This year we took a look at it and we identified some additional applications of microseal and other applications. They're more expensive. So again, we like to touch the roads every 10 years, which means every year we want to touch 10% of our roads. This year, we were able to do about a little over 7% because we went with a little bit different application. We can't do that every year. So what we have to work with is the funds that we have. Thank you, Senator Borelli. Thank you to all of our delegation for bringing back some of those HERF funds back into Havasu. Those are real dollars that go back into our roads, but we have X amount of dollars to fix our roads. We can do something really fantastic and expensive and touch the 2% of our roads, and in 10 years' time, our roads will decay and fall apart, or we can do what we're doing now in terms of what our existing resources is. So, we enjoy lower taxes, lower fees here at Havasu. We're not coming out to the residents and saying, hey, we want to raise your taxes so we can improve the roads. We're using our existing resources and to fix our roads. And it's a little inconvenient, but travel to some of the other areas that outside of Havasu. Take a look at the condition of their roads. Chip seal does a good job for us. It's a pain in the butt when that application goes down, but it's something that's worked for us. And it's a little, so that's the big picture. That's the big story.
Oh yeah, so you'll be getting the new treatment, so you are in luck. Yeah, and we'll talk about your specific road afterwards, and we'll take a look at it. Yes, sir.
If you travel north on Kiowa, where you run into the stop sign by the school and turn left on Palo Verde, there's no 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign there. But it is 25 miles an hour by the school.
Okay, yeah, we can, yeah.
And I drive that way quite often, and people will honk at you if you're only doing 25 or 30.
Yeah, I live on that road too, and so I drive it every single day. It's right above the stop. Yeah.
I think there's one past, but they need one right there.
Yeah.
One of those things as far as when speed limit posted signs are out there in the public, if it's not posted, it's 25 miles per hour. It's one of those things that we kind of need to educate more folks about that. But there are certain areas where we need to put up speed limit signs where areas are problematic. But just for general education, if you're not seeing a speed limit sign, it's 25 miles per hour.
But that should also be posted then. I come from a city where that was the case, and it was posted when otherwise not posted. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour.
Right.
Those were on signs as well.
Yeah, I drive that area every day. I know exactly what you're talking about. We can address that for sure. So while we're talking about by schools, Lake Havasu schools are going back in session. So the charter schools already started yesterday, and we have the Unified School District in Tulsa start on Monday. So please use caution if you live. Our schools are based in neighborhoods, so please use caution while you're driving around our community as schools are going back in session. I'll come to you next. I'm going to get Dave, and then we'll come over here. Dave?
Sounds like industrial from 95 to Tacoma. That street has more traffic, fire trucks, ambulance, potholes, you name it. That street needs a lot of attention. I mean, my 32 Ford goes through that thing and don't like it.
On Highway 95?
Industrial.
From Tacoma down to Lake Havasu Avenue to 95.
The strip there needs to be redone.
Yeah, there is a jump you get when you get up there towards the top. Yeah. Come on, we don't even charge extra for that. Yeah. All right, yeah, we'll take a look at that and see. Yeah, and you had a question? Yes.
Well, it kind of goes with what I wanted to ask with regard to 95.
Yes.
Tacoma and 95, or Highway 95 from Food City, for example, south.
I don't have Vice Mayor Lane here to talk about our Kiowa Highway 95 project, but we're doing stuff.
Section of that road that kills your car.
It's getting fixed, yeah. So it's actually right now, so the question was what about Highway 95, most specifically from Tacoma on Highway 95 out to about the Staples Center and Kiowa, so it's a whole area. It's horrible, the asphalt on Highway 95 is no good. As any good politician would say, that's a state issue, that's a state highway, but I have an answer for you. So, and the answer is that ADOT is working on it. There is a grant, and that grant is going to, through the Lake Havasu Metropolitan Planning Organization, they're working on, and they're actually out to bid right now, and so by this fall, they will come in and they're going to add a median in that area. and that median will be safe to, and then eventually phase 2, they'll have a stoplight at the, coming out of that shopping center on Highway 95 right there by the Starbucks and Staples. And
that's phase 2. We'll see
that's
that
phase 2. That's the future.
Future years.
But immediately they'll fix the roadway, and they're doing some intersection improvements. So all of that will go away. So that's on the books, and ADOT's doing that.
My second question was about the chip seal, or was there this question? When you guys laid that chip seal down, you guys.
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah.
Anyway, when it's done, wouldn't it be prudent for them to put 15-mile-an-hour signs up so till it stops, till it gets? They don't put signs up, and people fly through there. Those rocks, I've had a chip on my windshield from it, and those, it's just difficult to get through there unless you're going slow. If you go slow, it's cool, nothing happens to your car, and they don't spit anything at anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
So if they put just for the period of time it takes to cure, a slow sign or, something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so the suggestion was during the application of chip sealing, if put a 15-mile-an-hour stop or speed limit or a slow sign or something. Certainly we talk to the contractors about that and offer that suggestion. Certainly, yes. Yes, sir. And then we'll come over.
Before you get away from the chip seal issue, which this isn't anything to do with that, it's the repair of the streets. Every time there's a repair of the streets in most areas, and I'd be happy to take you and whoever, Mark Clark especially, around and show you what a repair is. It becomes a depravity or a bump. There's never any smooth. And there's been places along Kiowa from Kirk on down in there that have been holes forever. So every time they repair the street, it becomes one or the other. It's never laid out smooth. I did a little work in my life in the asphalt business, and it all relies on the person in charge. And I think that somebody needs to be re-educated on how to repair a street.
Yeah, so the question or the comment was about when we do street repairs or patchwork, that it never ends up being smooth. So it kind of ends up being bumpy or something. I'll let Jess say a few words after I give just a quick explanation about if we have water main issues or we need to get under the ground for some reason to do a repair, we'll do that repair and we'll do a patchwork, a real gentle patchwork, and then we'll have a contractor once it's saved up. So every couple of months, then we'll bring someone out to professionally do it. But I don't know, Jess, if you have any. So sometimes you'll see, certainly if it's been years, that's a problem. If it's just been a couple of months, give us some time because we're coming through, and we'll get it as soon as we have it all lined up. But I don't know if you have any additional thoughts on that.
Yeah, we're taking notes in terms of where these locations are. We'll take a close look at them. But yeah, there's nothing worse than spending all the money on a street, and then we have a water main or a lateral or some infrastructure issues that occur underneath. So we have to cut the street, and then we do first of all we do a cold patch, and then we come back hopefully in a couple of weeks and come back with a hot patch or a permanent fix with the streets. But we do our best. But then you have, once you cut into that street, you're going to have issues that do occur. But Shannon's arm is about ready to fall off. She's writing all this stuff down, and we'll take a real close look at everything.
Yeah. We'll go here and then we'll come over here to you, June. Yes.
You were talking about Swanson being repaired and the funding you got from that, and that they required you to put in bike lanes and all these paths and things. And it really irritates me because I come from a city that did the same thing. They spent $1 million on a bridge for bicycles, but yet they never charged the bicycle people any kind of money for registration or anything like that in order to pay for it and pay for the upkeep. And then those trails all became homeless camps. And it's horrible, and I really think that our state should do something that, bike paths are great. People bicycle off the street, I love it. Let them pay for it. Find a way to make them pay for it.
Yeah, so the comment is about the bike lane, kind of specifically going back to Swanson Avenue and the multi-use path and the bike lane that is going to be part of that project as was required by the grant. And that is about making healthy communities. And the question was, we'll make them pay for it, make the bike riders or the people that are pedestrians pay for that. And the simple answer is they are. Everything that we do, no matter where it's at, is paid by taxpayer dollars, whether it's gas tax or property tax or income tax. No, yeah, there is some additional, and Yeah, but there still is the option of making healthy communities. Point is well taken about how you find that funding source for different organizations or different ways to get through a community. And that's some conversations that we can have. But good point. So, June, yes.
Yes, we had a pipe rupture on Southwind and Acoma. And so I spoke to Mark Clark about it at one council meeting, and he said, we're going to take care of it. Well, he done an awesome job.
Good.
That is smooth as a baby's little butt. And I mean, it's a pleasure to know that, he was there, and he's seen it, and he told me how much it cost. And that little section, that was over $50,000 just for that one section. But he does do a great job.
Thank you.
So June's mentioning about a repair on Southwind in Acoma, and the repair work that was done there, and it is very smooth. I've been in that area as well.
Smooth
as a baby's butt. Yeah. Yes.
We've been doing some tourist stuff down by the English Village, and the paver job in there is the city really did a nice job there.
Yeah, thank you.
But coming out of what is now the blue chair, if you come out of the front door and you kind of go right, like you're going to go over to
the fountain.
No, over toward,
over to the, yes, okay, to the bridge.
You're going to take the ferry, okay? There's two sets of steps there. One of them is probably 7 steps or 8 steps, and there's no handrails on either side. And for us old folk that have bifocals and trifocals, you don't understand. You got to look straight down to see where your feet go, and if you don't have a handrail, it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Excellent. Yeah, so we got started the conversation with a compliment about how good the English Village looks. I said thank you and took credit for that, but that is a private development. The private folks that own that have done a really fantastic job in the village. There's actually several groups of owners that own different parcels down there, from the tribe to VRE to the city and London Bridge Resort. It is very nice down there for those residents that have been here for lots and lots and lots of years. I encourage you to go back down, bring your visitors, check out the bridge, be proud of the community you live in. It's so amazing down there. And then a specific request was there are a couple of cases near a new restaurant in that area that doesn't have handrails going down. We'll talk to the property owners about that and see what we can do to solve that. So thank you for the compliment, and please go enjoy your beautiful community, all that we have to offer. So, yes, Chuck. Yes, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those steps would be really bad for me.
Yeah, they would be. But we'll talk to them.
Couple things. No deference to the lady that talked about the chip seals, but there's 2 kinds of rock. I worked in rock sand industry for over 30 years. And you have natural rock and crushed rock. And chips are considered 8-inch or smaller. That's what they screen through at. Unless there's somebody has brought rock off their yard into the street or something like that, chips will not. We have studies that show that it takes at least a 1/2-inch stone to break a windshield with a high velocity. That's going down the road. And chips cannot break a windshield because it's just there's nothing there. You have it would just fall apart before it would ever break a windshield. The other thing is on your housing, the short-term rentals.
Yes.
Do they consider that a commercial enterprise?
Yeah, so there's two comments and questions. One was about chip seal, and Chuck shared some of his experience and industry about chip seal and rocks and sizes and those types of things. And then ended with a question back on short-term rentals and if those are considered commercial enterprises. And that's the challenge. They're not. They're in residentially zoned areas and they're not being considered commercial. They're being called shared economy. And so shared economy, you're seeing it in all spaces, homes, cars, office space, it's all sorts of different things. But the term shared economy is what's referred to when they come to these types of arrangements.
We have a home assisted living where people have their homes turned into where they take care of people.
Group homes?
And we have that, like the sober that sober house that was real controversial for a while. Now, didn't
The
this-
proposed sober house. Yeah, we don't have one, but the proposed one, yes.
Yeah. Didn't we limit to the number of people per bedroom to be in that house at that time?
For that particular, Chuck is referring to a particular home that was proposed to be a group home for substance abuse, and there was a couple of other things. And during those conversations, several years ago, of the person that wanted to open that facility or home inside of a neighborhood, was some conversation about limiting the number of people that would be per bedroom. And those were some conversations. It was never an ordinance or anything that was adopted. Those were just during conversations about potential solutions to offer that type of facility.
We still have the home assisted living places in town. We still have those.
Yes.
Okay, now don't they limit the number of people that can be in a bedroom?
So we have the different facilities, statutes call it the group homes. So whether that's for halfway houses or other services that you provided there too. City is very restricted in terms of what we can, how we can regulate those areas. The state has identified those as protected services. And so it's always an issue when those things are identified, because those are services we want in our community, but we don't want them next door to where we live. So, but really, from the city's perspective, our hands are tied in terms of, can they be located there? They can. The city can't stop them from those things, and that's just based on what the statutes, how those things are guided through the state statutes.
So that's why we can't limit the number of people in short-term rentals per bedroom.
Yeah, there was a lot of language. That bill changed quite a bit. At one time, it was supposed to say that, hey, you can't have more than 10 people in a vacation rental, and some of that language kind of changed and whatever else too. But all those things are directives that we get from the state in terms of what we can do and what we can't do. So group homes, vacation rentals fall into those categories.
Okay.
Some cases, cities have leeway in how we can guide that local process, and in some cases, we don't.
Okay, now you say we're redoing an ordinance now that's passed through the state and everything.
Vacation rentals, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Why can't we, in that thing, state that people that own the home have to have the trash picked up separate? They have to do, pay the trash company extra, because if they leave the trash out like that for 4 or 5 days, like you said, it's a concrete trap.
I can attest to you in the States.
And then it just, you have to have your trash picked up, the day after your short-term rental or something like that.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, we'll be looking at all the different pieces and putting it together. We're going to have to work with some other cities and towns as well to address that. But I'm going to take a couple more questions. We'll go to Nancy, and then we'll come over here, and then we're going to close up. We'd like to get out of here by 10 for you folks. We'll be around afterwards to continue answering questions. But Nancy.
Quick question.
Yes.
I live in Lakeshore Village. I think you guys have condos there as well. And we're also dealing with all this VRBOs. It's been like this for day one. And what I was told by somebody in our last board meeting, which I'm going to research, but I don't know if you know, that you can go on the VRBO or Airbnb, you can put in an address and actually make complaints right on their website, where I've been told that it's been shut down instantly, because if you do like ride sharing, if you do a complaint on these, then the actual renters that buy these units will actually be rated as not a good renter. And none of the homeowners want these. I'm hearing they're going to be pretty intense fines, which including us, we were putting into ours. I think ours started like $250 for the first complaint, up to $1,200 for like the third complaint, which is really going to get in the pocketbooks of the actual homeowners. So have you seen that too? I need to dig into a little bit further. Has anybody else actually went onto the VRBO sites and made an actual complaint of the rented address?
I don't even know anything about it.
Yeah, it's where they rent these units. You can probably put in renter your address next door, and you might be able to see that it's rented on VRB or whatever, and there'll be complaints supposedly. Is this
Yeah,
true?
that is true. Yes. So there's several sites, but back to the question again for the folks at home: short-term rentals and maybe some solutions. This resident happens to live in an HOA, which I'll just state: if you do live in an HOA, everything I said is at the city level. HOAs can do anything they want, meaning they can just say no VRBOs if they want. But at the city, from a city ordinance, we have to follow the state law. But she made a recommendation that if you're having an issue with vacation rentals, you can type in the address into the main vacation rental websites and file a complaint yourself, and that is true. Type in the address of the home that's causing the issue and file the complaints there. That person, that renter, then gets dinged like a normal review that you might see on some of the review sites out there, but that's one possible solution. Thank you for offering that. A question over here, then we'll grab Bonnie, and then we're going to close up. Oh, yes?
I was just going to do one thing. I wanted to compliment you on just last meeting. I had brought up the point of the sharks. What do you do with them legally and all of that? Because we had several different solutions, none of which seemed to work. You gentlemen put it together. It was in the newspaper. Now the rest of us know exactly what and how to do to dispose of them properly. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so it was, yeah, big thank you to, we were getting a compliment, which we take. We love compliments. So a compliment about last time we talked a little bit about sharps. For those of you that weren't here or listening at home, the newspaper, our friends at Today's News Herald, ran an article about what to do with sharps from the home use. If you did not catch that article, go to havasunews.com and catch that. But basically throw it in a coffee can or a needle, like diabetic needles or those types of things. So, yeah, put them into a heavy container, plastic, duct tape around, and let them know that it's that's what it contains, and then dispose of it in your garbage. And Republic Services then takes it out of your garbage when they sort through the trash. And yes, people do sort through the trash to make sure it goes in the right spot. Did you have a question? Yes. Okay, so the question is, what can the community do for with plans for things for children in our community and community service or community type activities? I'll tell you a couple of things that are happening right now. Our recreation department has a really fantastic after-school program that are taking registrations, Parks and Rec. They just got finished with all of their summer camps, which were amazing. The feedback we were getting from the children attending these camps was phenomenal. There's also on Thursday nights out at Sarah Park at the Rotary Hockey Rink. They're doing family skate nights. So they have a DJ out there and people are roller skating. That's every Thursday night. You can follow them on Facebook at Havasu Still Skates. Put that in there and you can like their page and follow what they're doing. And then Jess and I have been in conversations with some people that are developing different things in the area that are trying to incorporate kids-related type activities, but there isn't anything specific other than our recreation programs that the city is doing on that behalf.
Get on the city's website, go to the Parks and Rec page. There's different programs that pop up and different activities that we host as a city and others that do throughout the community from a private perspective as well too.
And our last question, Bonnie.
In the interest of compliments, nice tie.
Oh.
I just wanted to say for the lady who addressed the Airbnb issue, a friend of mine has had issues with a house and reported the house to Airbnb. Turned out that the person who is registered and all their contact information was completely false, and they have no way of contacting the homeowner. So I have no idea if that's going to help you, but that is your. Okay, that's what I'm sure existing. Two neighbors have complained about that house and have had 3 years of issues with the city on that house. Wow.
That's an issue we need to address.
Crosswalk safety. I would just like to please stress to inform you and to help inform others of crosswalk safety everywhere, not just downtown area, but I do know the downtown area is particularly not safe for pedestrians.
Yes, we need to yield to our pedestrian friends out there. So, especially in the summer heat, we're sitting in an AC-controlled car. We need to slow down, stop, and give them the right of way.
Excellent. Well, yes.
Can I just say, going back to the kids, I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but starting sophomore year in high school, your kids can start taking college classes with MCC. So if you have grandkids that are in high school, please make sure they get a hold of me. So I'd love to help them get started on their education now before they graduate from high school.
Excellent. All right, yeah.
Lots of community college. They also have great adult education. So it's not just for undergraduate and associate degrees.
Great
We
point.
have some really good adult education.
Absolutely.
So for those listening at home, our last two comments were about Mohave Community College, our host this morning. One was if you have children or grandchildren in the school system, starting sophomore year, they can take classes in dual enrollment through Mohave Community College.
And through Wage HED, which is CTE programs. So by the time they graduate from
I
high
can't
school-
remember everything, Shannon. I got to get to the TV. And then also there's great adult education programs too if you're interested. Well, we'd like to end with some fun facts. First, the next coffee with the mayor and city manager is on Friday, September 6th. Again, Friday, September 6th. You guys are doing such a good job of finding us that we're not even going to tell you where we're going to be in September. So we love how you're coming out in groves. What we're doing this year that's a little bit different is we are taking the show on the road and going to entities that are paid for by the taxpayers. So we're showcasing Mohave Community College, which is paid for by the taxpayers. We're showcasing city services that are paid for by the taxpayers. So next month will be somewhere paid for by the taxpayers, but we just don't know where. But we do have some really exciting ones coming up. We're going to go do a wastewater, one at the wastewater treatment plant, which will be really fun to go see after our get-together. We'll have tours of that facility. We do have an upcoming one at the courts. But September kind of fell out at the very last minute, so we don't actually have the destination right now. But we'll get it to you. So follow us on Facebook, and we'll let you know where it's at. We always like to end with some fun facts. We'll give you a couple from the city, and then we'll share Mohave Community Colleges. So the first one is, I've shared some of these before, but they're still pretty interesting. IT, so our IT support services in Lake Havasu City for the city offices, we support over 15.5 miles of fiber optics used to connect all of our city offices. So 15.5 miles, it's huge. There are over 140 servers in the data center that host our city software programs. Lost animal reports. Last year we had a total of 709 lost animal reports within Lake Havasu City.
Just through the PD?
Yeah, just through the PD. Yeah, so through, we run animal control. We have 2 full-time animal control officers, and they had over 2,000 calls for service just last year. Which is big. And another one which I always think is kind of fun is there's more than 45,000 takeoffs and landings at Lake Havasu Municipal Airport last year. Right? You don't think it's that busy, right? It's crazy busy. So, all right, let's talk about MCC. So the college's first facilities were developed in June of 1971 with a donation of 160 acres of land in Kingman. So it all started with the donation. In that same year, the college began operating out of temporary facilities here in Lake Havasu City and also in Bullhead City. The Lake Havasu City campus, where we're on today, was developed in 1972 on the site of an old printing facility that was purchased by the college. This is the oldest building in MCC's inventory and currently houses the Student Services Center and 2 of the Allied Health programs. That's the original building up on the other side of the wash through the bridge. Back when I went to MCC, that's where we went to school. The North Campus of MCC is in Colorado City, so we do have a campus up in Colorado City located up on the Arizona and Utah border. The telecommunication systems established at this campus in 1988 connected the northernmost section of the county to these 3 main campuses. The Lake Havasu campus has a geologic display of 49 boulder-sized specimens of representative rock types that occur within the boundaries of Mohave County, some of which are estimated to be over 2 million years old, and some still show evidence of foliage and fossils. That is fascinating. So I took geology here when I went to school here, and I still drive up I-40 and I can like name the limestone and the formations, and I don't know what to do with it, but I can name it. So if you ever ride with me, I'm gonna point it out to you on our way.
It's fantastic.
I've done it, yeah, every time. We stopped right here. All right, and the campus also has a fully instrumented weather station that was established 15 years ago, right here on this campus. The station records temperature, wind speed and direction, relative humidity, dew point, heat index, wind chill, and UV and solar intensity. So that's all happening right here on this campus that we spent this morning with. Again, we are offering, Mohave Community College is offering tours after this. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you. If we can ever be of any assistance, please reach out, and we'll be here afterwards to answer any questions. Thank you.